what intrigued me most about yourself was, unlike most of these businesses who've been successful in startup and maybe in, Silicon Valley, or they're doing something in the tech industry, what I absolutely love about your story, man, is that you're blue collar.
Oh,
You
yeah.
started up and people can relate to that.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
huge, man.
Yep. Huge.
Yeah, it's like, as far as being able to just have an audience even now, like you have to relate to, and there's so many people who get inspired by that. That's why I think it's awesome that you came on today, man.
Well, and it's just it's something that's important to the audience too, is knowing that does this person design the tool that knows about the tools, and just that relatability. And there's no BS.
Yeah.
They know that this tool is going to work because Jason has to use it every day because that's what he does too.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't trick somebody.
Well, it's what's cool too is going down that line is that when I started fabrication business in like 2017, we had a very experienced fabricator that came on.
Okay.
And we met without meeting. Is he was kind of, hey, we got to tool up a little bit here. We got to get some stuff. And he started saying, hey, he was showing me all these tools, and I had Fireball. And I was like, what? I was like, who's this company, Fireball? And so I became really familiar, obviously, with your company. And for like 2 years straight, we were buying squares. We were buying these other tool stuff from you guys. And so then it was probably 6 months ago, Bob Capal comes in and he's talking to me and he's like, hey, you remind me of this guy, Jason, a lot. I was like, really? And I was like, who is this Jason? And he keeps talking about you, about it. She's like, man, he just really has a grasp on everything that he does on the business front. You got to meet him. So then I was like, well, what's his business? He goes, Fireball. I was like, are you kidding me? And I did no idea that you're right here in Spokane.
Yep.
That's awesome, man.
Crazy?
It is. It's like a small world. You look at this little Spokane market, and to know that you were just right here and then coming to your shop and seeing what you did there.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
You've done well for yourself, man.
Work hard. You know how it is. You work hard, it pays off. But at the same time, it's just trying to help people. You get rewarded, I think, at the end of the day. It's like hard work pays off, but there's something about doing it for the right reasons and not trying to just go after money. But when you love your trade, you love what you're doing, those successes will just follow naturally. And that's kind of where I'm at. I get up in the morning and want to design a new tool to help my fellow fabricators. I got more in the works, every day. I'm like excited, can't wait. Oh, it's going to be 6 months till comes out. And I'm like, oh, these guys are going to love this tool. It's going to save them so much time. And that's where that success will just follow that passion.
Do you struggle with when you do that? I know I struggle. Do you struggle with God, I want to release this sooner. I want to push this out.
Yeah. Well, and then there's tools that I will design and make. And then I get some quotes on how I'm going to get it made, how much is it going to cost. And then I go, this is too expensive. This is a good tool, but no one's going to pay for this. So it ends up either getting cut down with features, or it goes on the shelf and nobody ever sees it. And then that's the most depressing part, because you'll spend, months working on it and go, nope, this will never see the day or light, because sometimes I'll apply for a patent for it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't show it to the camera, because if I show it to the camera, that means I have 1 year to decide if I want to put a patent on it. So all the things I'm working on, I can't show anybody until they're ready to go.
Do you ever just say, you know what? Because do you ever just say you know what? I'm just not even going to patent this. I'm just going to go for it and just do it.
There's some things that I know I won't be able to get a patent on. So I will do that. And a lot of times I will judge the idea by maybe making a video on it. A good example of that is like the hardtail vise. I'll do a prototype, build it on camera, and get the people's feedback. That's cool. You should turn that into production vise. And I'm like, okay, it's like a natural way of testing the audience if it's a viable product or not. And then if people kind of engage with it, I'm like, let's do it. Let's make it. And then I'll go into production version.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like a way of a low risk way of inventing, is just what do the people say about it?
Interesting.
No. Yeah.
Is that, I saw some of your videos too, where you brought in other competitors' vices, right?
Yeah.
And you do it. So do you do it on that front too, or is it mainly just build it, show it?
That's a marketing thing that I've struggled with my tools, is that the Fireball brand is a little bit more on the pricier side of the tools and equipment. But it's pricier because I try to pack in more features, and I will not sacrifice on quality. That is probably the highest point. So we struggle with, how do you keep the price at a good rate? How do you keep the features high, and keep the durability there? I've worked in a fab shop. I know how tools are going to get beat up. And the last thing I want is a tool to break with my name on it. So therefore, everything gets a little beefier. Everything is a little stronger than it needs to be. But I want my guys or anybody else to not have to break it and go, man, this firewall product just fell on the floor. I just pick it back up and use it again. It didn't split in two. So that just raises the price up a little bit. But so there's that battle of with the Vice, where I was getting at is that's the same thing with the Vice, is when I see a higher price tag on something, people don't quite understand why it is priced the way it is. So I have to do those demonstrations between here's a competitor that's lower than mine.
Yep.
And I just have to break it or have to show them why. So I'm constantly in that battle of justifying the cost of the tools, which I would hope it'd be obvious, but I don't have quite that brand recognition yet like a Snap-on. Snap-on can just make anything and know that, okay, this is probably going to be good. I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
And that's my struggle, is the justification of the price.
Yeah, it always seems like one way or the other, whether you're going to do something like someone's house or you do it just like a side job for someone, hey, what's the price going to be? What's the price going to be?
Yep.
And so I can imagine, especially in your industry, that's a struggle.
Yep.
Are you mainly dealing with the, person in their shop who's just, hey, I just want to build stuff on the side, like some railings? Are you dealing with like larger corporations that you're working with? Who's your main clientele really? Or is it all over the board?
Because I do most of the marketing on YouTube, I have a wide variety of users. Everybody from who's just a casual viewer that wants to participate in owning a firewall product, the home hobbyist, all the way up to the corporate. I got the Boeings, the SpaceXs, all those guys. Oh yeah, so you got a vast variety, and that's why our tool spread is everything down to like we have Pro Kit tables, which is just a plate steel, and then you can build the frame underneath. That's something the home hobbies can build and still have a good quality product, all the way up to the fixture tables that you see that you came and visited, and you're like, okay, this is some serious stuff here. This is not a hobbyist this is overkill for the hobbyist to use.
Yeah.
So
you said you've got stuff with SpaceX as well too?
Oh yeah. SpaceX customers. Oh yeah, that's pretty fun.
How did you get in? Was that just someone reach out from there?
No, they just order it online.
Interesting.
Like a random company, just like everybody else.
That's
That's
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
So starting back from, because I could spend, this is one of those podcasts where I could probably spend 4 hours talking to you about this, because if you probably understand, like you get with a group of friends or something and, small talk's one thing, but you start talking about business and it turns the level to just this conversation that I can just get enthralled in. So with that being said, I want to know just a little bit on what were you doing before you started the business? How did you get started in it? What was that thing? Because obviously there's a risk factor. Some people see it as a risk factor to go into start a business. For, a lot of other people, it's like, what's kind of a risk working for somebody. I'd rather go work for myself. What was that driver that got you to do it on your own? And what was your first thing you did?
I'll give a quick little history about my background. I'm a millwright by trade. So right out of high school, went to Coeur d'Alene, became a millwright. Did that for several years. Gravitated towards the fabrication side of millwrighting. Found that that's where my strength was. And then from there, just started doing car work, ironworking, got in with a couple of businesses doing that. And doing the ironworking stuff during the crash of 2008, 2009, I had the opportunity to work as a private contractor for a local here. And I did that for several years. And at that time, I was like, how do I speed up my process? I kind of gave me a little more time to think about myself. And that's when homemade plasma cutters were coming out. And one of my colleagues had one. And it was just kind of this new thing, like, wow, these plasma cutters are cool. And I was like, I have this idea. And I gave him, his name's Reed. I gave Reed my sketch on this piece of yellow paper of this Pac-Man shape. I go, Reed, can you cut this out for me? And he's like, yeah, I'll cut that out for you. He's a really generous guy. And he shows up the next day, and here I go. I just start fabricating together. I go, this is a square. This is cool. Look what I could do with it. And so Reed's like, hey, that's pretty cool. And I go, well, now what do I do? He goes like, well, maybe you should make a YouTube video about it. I'm like, YouTube? That one site where you learn how to fix your refrigerator? I'm like, because that's all YouTube was for me. It was just search. He's like, oh no, you go on there and you're going to follow somebody. Like, it's like TV shows. I'm like, TV shows on YouTube? This is crazy. And I do not like anything public. I do not like being in the spotlight at all. I just want to hide in my workshop, shut the door, turn my music up loud. So the thought of doing anything on YouTube to try to sell a product was like no way. But at the time I was making some of those squares, like which I call the mega square currently, I was having trouble with spatter, believe this or not, trying to keep the spatter off of it. So I visited Norco, which is local, and a salesman named Dallas. I don't know if you ever know who Dallas is, but he's local fame here.
We
And
use Norco a lot.
yeah, Norco. I said, Dallas, I'm trying to keep the spatter off of this thing. And I was expecting him to give me the sales pitch about spatter, but the first thing he says, what is this shape? Because it was an unusual shape. He's like, what is this unusual shape? He goes, this is a square. He's like, a square? What is it? So I gave him a quick little demo. He's like, you know what? Next week in the parking lot right out here, we are having a demo. Was Miller's going to be here, Lincoln's going to be here, ESOB, a whole bunch of people are going to be in the parking lot, and they're going to be showing their tools. What you should do, Jason, is bring a little setup, bring some of the squares out, and you're more welcome to sell right in our parking lot. I'm like, okay, this is a week later.
Yeah.
And I'm building these mega squares in my garage after work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? CDA Metals was laser cutting them for me at this time. And so here I roll in on this Saturday morning, and I see all the big trailers. I'm like, I am completely out of place. I'm like a gypsy here. Black my little pickup truck in, unfold my little table, and start plopping all my squares down on here. And all day long, I'd have a crowd of 10 people around my booth, just giving demo after demo, selling all my product. And then I'd gradually look up, and all the other salesmen or booths are empty. And I was like, this is awesome. And I'm just exhausted by the end of the day, sold out on all my product. And I was like, it was at that moment in time, like, I'm going to have to, this is a business now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I cannot continue to make these things in my shop anymore. I'm going to have to find another solution. So literally probably the next day, I was traveling back and forth, and we have a foundry locally called Travis Pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And so on my way to work, because I'm still working day job, I stop in at Travis Pattern at 6 a.m, and I knock on their door, and a young man answers. His name's TJ at this point, and he opens the door, and I stuff my mega square in his face. I go, can you make me this? And literally he was just like, he just kind of gives me this weird look. Right, here's this young man. He opens the door, and he's like, come on in. And we sat down, and that's how it kind of got started. So Travis Pattern here locally started casting them for me, machining them for me. But the scary part is to get those patterns and the cost of it all, I didn't have any money. And that's the scary part. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
So my wife says, what do you think? What are you going to do? I'm like, well, first thing I did is I asked my dad for money, and my dad said no. And I'm glad he did.
Yep.
Because he goes, you're going to have to do this by yourself. And it was the best thing he ever said to me.
Yeah.
What that allowed me to do then was I said, okay, if I'm serious about this and I believe in this product, I sold my pickup truck, my diesel pickup truck. I sold my motorcycle. I sold anything I possibly could to gather up enough funds to pay for the molds and a first batch of inventory. And my wife's like, okay, here you go for it. So the process started, and then all of a sudden all my products start showing up, and now the problem is how do you sell it?
Mm-hmm.
And now this is the hardest part for me, because like I said before, I do not like being on camera.
Yeah.
I am scared to death. I do it once the camera turns on me, my lips turn to rubber and I can't speak.
Yeah.
For some reason. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna have to learn how to make a video. How do I sell this? And how do I make these things interesting for people to watch? How do I let people know that I'm a welder first, not a salesman second? How does this not come across gimmicky? I do not want to be a salesman. I hate that part of this, my occupation. So I naturally says, I'm going to build things with my tools. That was my strategy. I want to build things with my tools and then maybe show them how it works. And that was my way of comforting myself to not push my product onto people.
So do you think that, were you feeling like you were more scared when it was starting the business and starting to build your first tools, or the marketing part of the filming it?
Oh, the marketing part for sure. The
Really?
inventing the tools are easy, and because they just work. I mean, to me, a 90-degree angle is a 90-degree angle. You make it a specific size and shape, and I know that I have confidence knowing and that works. But the sales part, when I've invested my pickup trucks, my life savings, everything I've sold. That was the scary part, because I'm like, this is now I'm in uncharted territory. This was 14, 15 at this time. So YouTube was still relatively new, but not really.
Yeah.
It's not like it is now.
Yeah.
To say. And so I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do. I don't know how to edit a video. Like, if I showed you my early videos, how they're edited, it was so fun. I mean, it's like long cuts.
Yeah.
So every word out of my mouth was followed by an
Yeah.
So it's like, this is so bad. I mean, all the comments were, stop saying stop saying stop.
Is that funny?
And it just drove me to do better on the next one, the next video, and the next video. And then that's kind of how it started.
So you started making your tooling from there. You went in and you started doing the marketing on that, and you had the squares you start off with, right? First. Hey, Josh, can you go tell them to stop grinding down there? I'm sorry.
They're having fun.
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun. Can you tell them to just back it off just a little bit for a tiny bit? Sorry. I'm sitting there like, gosh, you can probably hear that in the mic. So you started off doing it that way, and then you went into the marketing side of it. And so once you started seeing that ramp up a little bit, as far as for when you started ramping up with, was it obviously your squares first?
Yep.
What took you to that second tool then? What was the second thing that you came up with, and what was kind of that thing that kept you going?
It was, at that point in time, it was, how do you make it cheaper? And I knew that I can't make my squares cheaper. I just have to make it smaller. So
Hate that word, cheap.
Everyone says, Jason, your stuff's too expensive. I'm like, I don't know how you want a made in USA product here in Spokane that's machined and like out of a specific material. Like, I don't know how to make it any cheaper, in their words.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, I just need to make it smaller. And so the size started to get smaller, which was beneficial for smaller areas or working. So started to build out the catalog of sizes was the way to hit somebody's price point. It's like, okay, you didn't have $100, but do you have $50? Okay, maybe you start here and get them going that way. So that was kind of the way it went, and then it's just kind of snowballs, as you know. Great, well, these squares were good, and fixture tables started coming out. I had the opportunity to use reeds, which is my colleague's fixture table. I'm like, this is pretty awesome, but I could see some benefits here, but some weaknesses here. Let me see if I can fix some of these things. And that's just how things start. I see a problem, I want to fix it and solve it. And then what I've noticed in the industry is tools they seem to be designed by somebody who's never used them before. And I don't know why.
Yep.
You guys got these big corporations. I don't think they actually go out and use it.
Yeah.
So, and they leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah. I laugh because we were talking a little bit ago, and it was like, I started a fabrication company and I've never even fabricated, but instead of me trying to fabricate it myself, I had to bring in the people who just absolutely understood and knew, because having a product, the second someone picks something up that is in that market, they know instantly.
Yep.
But what's cool to kind of fast forward a little bit is that, so we had the opportunity obviously to come out to your facility a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, I want to hear more about what your thoughts were after that. I think that's like, what was the conversation in the car like? I guess maybe if the audience is listening, give it a little overhead.
Yeah. It was, so first of all, coming to your facility, I had seen the YouTube videos. My son was started becoming a fan. So I knew right away just the content that you're putting out there. He's 11 years old, and he was fascinated with Starship, everything that you're building inside there for your offices and stuff. I was just like, oh my, like it was awesome, man. But then to show up there, I was expecting to see that. But when we showed up, the attention to detail, which I boasts really well for your products as well, because the attention to detail, even on your shop build.
I'm sorry for surprising you with a demonstration, but if I'm gonna give a demonstration, I kind of want to go all out,
dude. I think it's fantastic. I admire that kind of stuff, because I know when I do something, when I do something, I think about 15 steps ahead of this. Okay, when I'm at a trade show one day showing this product, what am I able to show at that trade show that's going to set me apart from everybody else? And so I start thinking about that even when it comes into the facility. What does my facility look like to maybe get to that point? And then everything I do gets to that point. So I saw that times 10 with you, which is I show up at your facility, the attention to detail when it comes to your lighting, the layout, how clean it was, the film crew that you have, which is you're all in. I absolutely love it, man. I look at the quality of the build that you did on your office space. the decking on your office space up top, just go an inch and inch and a half, inch and 3/4, or inch and a quarter thick on all of your upstairs area. It boasts. When I walk in and see that, I wish everyone that follows you could see that for themselves, because once they see that, they start saying, if he builds his shop this way, this is how he builds his product. And when you can see that, that takes things to a whole nother level. It's like going to someone's house, looking at how they live every single day, typically is who that person is. So when we got in the car coming back, first of all, I was on the media side of thing, man. That's kind of my realm now with doing all this. Just extremely impressed with that. The Fab guys, when they came in, were just, you would have thought they were going to MJ's house. Because every one of them, when they the first time you come to the facility, they're like, wait, who's coming here? Jason with Fireball? I was like, yeah. Like, well, we got to get this place looking good. Like, well, it should look good already, right?
Oh, that's quite a compliment.
Yeah, but then when they had the chance to come to your facility, they were just like all in, let's go do it. And then to have the opportunity to be able to showcase some of your products, it was awesome experience, man.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the goal for me is I wanted you to be confident in purchasing a fixture table. And I didn't want to just, I want the product to speak for itself. And the only way to do that is just to demonstrate it and show it.
Yeah.
Because I would have felt it would have been 100% one-sided if I only showed you the Fireball product.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, I don't know about these other tables. But yeah, from your perspective, what did you think about the other different designs? I guess that's also what I'm kind of interested about. Well, getting to see them and getting your hands on them.
It's interesting because, so I love your videos. I love that you bring in, I'm going to answer that in a long way here, but I'm getting back to it, is I love the fact that you take passion in showing your product to other people, because like you said, it's so hard. We struggle with this too. Like, how do we differentiate our product away from everybody else? Trade shows are huge ones. People can get their hands on it. They're sold once they see it. It's like, this is a no-brainer. You're on a video. Sometimes people are like, well, are we kind of editing things out? Are we not showing things? That's what I love about your videos. You're showing the whole thing through. But for us, and for me, I've always been a little bit skeptical on the fixture table, because I've been hearing about them for a while. I was like, okay, well, we can do that, on our own table, and we can get squares and stuff that we have and make things the right way. But when we came to your facility, the thing that got me from a business owner standpoint was how easy it was to set your fixturing up on your table. I can quality control on that table. I can have guys who maybe aren't very experienced, as we do. We hire a lot of younger guys that come in and start working, and gals. Now we can put somebody on that table who can go out and start fabricating immediately. And they have something that's it fits or it doesn't fit. Doesn't fit, you're good. These other tables we were working with, man, we started working with the fixturing on them, and you had issues with connection points. What size bolts am I using? Am I using the right bolts? Am I using the wrong bolts? I have to use extension arms going off the side of these things. With yours, you had thought through, which is what I can appreciate, man. You think through every single thing. You were thinking about that trade show you're going to be out 10 years later. And what is the customer going to say? And I'm going to beat anything that they say. What's any negative that can come up? And you beat it. So you heck of a job.
Well, I think that's one thing that I do know, that when I'm on camera and I display the product, that when they get mad if the product doesn't work, whose face do they think of? Mine. So I know I have to have everything in a row and it has to work. Where the other companies, they're just kind of, they have a product and they don't have really a face behind it. You can get mad at the company and the CEO is just laying back in his chair, kicking his feet up. Got that guy. Took his money. Well, not me, because they know who I am. They know me personally, in a sense, because we have this connection on camera. Even though I've never met them before, I go to the trade shows. I see them. I cannot make a bad product. I'm forced to do it correctly. Right. And I think you see that. Okay, the table's got to be 6 inches longer. All right, the table's got to be 6 inches wider. The brackets have to work. Got to have a true imperial system. It has to work.
Well, and what also I really appreciated about your stuff too, is that when we build stuff for the fire industry, I always think about, how can I save? Okay, so they're investing in the product. How can we save them money later down the road too? So like, let's say, I'm taking this back to your point as well, is that when they're training on our products, how can we make it so that the consumables they're using, they can use consumables, they can just go to the store and buy and then go back, and they don't have to rely on purchasing something from us that costs $100 later down the road. Where we're doing that same thing. We got you. You got our product. Now you got to use everything we have. The bolting system that you have, I can't believe the kickback that you're getting from people on that, because they can go to the hardware store and get their own bolts if they wanted to.
I know. Isn't that crazy? Well, and for the audience listening, we use a 3/4 bolt and it's technically, if you want to say, it's not industry standard, because it is, but it isn't. What I mean is, woodworkers have been using 3/4 holes for the last 100 years in their woodworking benches. They already had tooling available for woodworkers. So I use that 3/4 hole. And so when I got into fixture tables, I'm like, why are they using this weird size? Like, where did this 28mm come from? Like, this is strange. Why come they're not using this woodworker stuff? And why is it 5/8 or 16mm? They're just weird sizes. And I'm like, what is the purpose around it? Well, they all started copying each other and making this tooling. But from my perspective, I'm like, this is strange. Do I follow the leader and go that route? But what comes with that is design compromises. If I pick their hole size that they've already chosen for me, and as an engineer, I don't like being shoved into a corner of, I have to pick your hole size. I need to design something that actually works. So I'm like, well, let's look at the problem. So, okay, 3/4 hole, any bolt will work. It's already the same standard as woodworkers. So there's a crossover between metal and woodworking. It fits on a 1-inch hole center. It's plenty strong. Everything we bolt together rarely goes above 3/4 of an inch. And we're just dealing with temporary bolted connections on a table. So anything bigger than that, waste of time. Manufacturing keeps the cost a little lower. It just all lined up. Like, it is literally the perfect hole size. And they designed that 100 years before. So why change it? And I can go into more detail on why they changed it, because they want proprietary tooling. They actually want proprietary tooling, but it looks like I'm making a proprietary tooling because I'm coming in after the fact. So I kind of get a little slack for that, but it's the complete opposite. So I'm trying not to have proprietary tooling.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just not a follow the leader type guy. So I want to make it work correctly the first time.
How much kickback, because I've watched your videos, obviously, and I've seen the comparisons that you've done. How much kickback do you get from these other companies, man? I mean, what is the feedback that you get? Because you're basically proving people wrong in these videos.
They're mad at me. Oh yeah, I am not traditional salesman in their eyes. I am stirring up this space like crazy. Only because I can see the problems, and I have a platform to call BS. And they do not like my platform. A lot of these older legacy companies, they don't have a social media platform. They've never really focused on that. And if I go and show a demonstration, well, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of people see that, and they do not like me sharing their problems. And they've been hidden to everybody for so long. And I'm like, a good example, what I didn't show you on one of the other tables is, it was an imperial table, but all their tooling is metric. So it's an imperial table, but they use all the original metric fixtures, and they just re-drilled the holes to imperial.
Interesting.
And I didn't discover that until after you left. I thought that their table was all imperial, and I started measuring. I'm like, why is this 30mm? Why is this 16mm tall? I'm like, they tricked me. So I got on my phone, on my Instagram, I go, hey guys, did you guys know that this table is 30mm? And the crowd goes like, no, we never even know that. Why is that? Like, so I'm bringing awareness to these companies tricking some of us stuff, and they do not like this.
I can imagine.
But I'm truly trying. Yes, I'm trying to make my own product look better in the sense, but I want people. I'm going to rewind a little bit. These tables are spendy, and they're a big investment. We work hard for our money. I work hard for my money. When I go to purchase a tool, I'm probably going to keep it the rest of my life. So if you were to buy into a table that's 12, 14, 16, 20 grand, you would hope it was everything you want it to be. And so that's where I'm like, I have to get this information out, because if somebody buys this table, they're going to not be happy. And then they're going to be stuck with it, because it's a hard sell to resell it. So I just want all the cards to be laid out on the table and say, hey, this is what it is, hopefully, and let you guys make the correct decision. So these things are this is an investment forever.
100%.
So
I mean, it's a huge investment. I mean, when you're doing something like that, but the way that it can change, obviously, your whole fabrication shop. And it's an investment. The way I look at these things now is like, man, I'm getting basically a 3-in-1 here. out of that. So I know for our fabrication shop, we're moving forward with your tables. It's going to help us out tremendously.
I can't wait.
Yeah. It'll be fun having you here too, man.
Yeah.
With going down that line too, on the media side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny you bring that up because we're kind of in a little bit of a with other company too, but it's funny how these older companies, they get so stuck in their way. We got to have a salesman that's going to the place that's going to sell the product. And it's like, okay, that's great to think that way. And I talked to these fire departments now. I was like, yeah, we had so-and-so show up from the sales meeting. We just told them we were in a meeting. I was like, okay, great. But the social media platform, man, for the younger bucks that are looking to come up and to start businesses right now, I know even after talking with you, we were kind of on the fence, like, are we going this route? We just dove in with it and we started doing it. And it has changed business completely. Even this podcast, we started up, 3 or 4 months ago? And we're just starting to bring on more people like yourself to talk with them about and to talk through these things. But the media platform, it's like these old companies are like this big barge going down. And you get these younger companies, little speedboats where they're able to just kind of make pivots and do things. They're stuck in their ways. They want to keep doing it. And now we're kind of disrupting the market.
That's what you need to do.
You're doing a heck of a job at it, man. That's huge.
Well, and I am almost forced to do that because I don't have I don't have a big crew. We're still a small company, so our marketing budget is small. So we're forced to do that in a way, but I think it's the right way because it's very personal.
Yeah,
and the customer is just constantly getting information that they're looking for, and I think it feels real, and I think it's just a good thing all around. And I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, so that's where I'm getting my information anyway. So magazines are kind of out. That's old. I guess maybe here and there might be something good, but social media is where everybody's getting their information from. I rarely even turn on the news anymore because I just get my news through whatever social media is coming through. So it's just kind of like this is the new place to be. Yeah, if you're not there, then you're not cool, I guess.
Yeah. So it's just interesting too. It's that you go in, you get this fabrication business started, you're rolling with this fabrication business, and then you have a media company, basically, is what you turn into to get that word out there to people. And you have a salesman in everybody's living room. I mean, if you can get to people when they're sitting at home and they're wanting to be on social media and they're wanting to be there and they're wanting to see good content, now they sit there and want to watch what you're doing. I was in on your build out for your offices for a while.
And it's a targeted audience. So social media is doing, all these platforms, they're doing good at keeping the people who are interested in your subject in your little group. You know what I mean? So you're not advertising to people you shouldn't be. So it's people who want to see your stuff are just going to see your stuff. And so why not? And it's the best way to probably, how would I explain this? It's kind of like not sales pitch to people who are not interested in your sales pitch. You know what I mean? It's not wasted energy. So you're just talking to people who want to listen. It's like going to church, I guess. Like, in a sense, you're people who come see you who want to hear what you have to say. So it's fun.
Would you say that trade shows still do a good number for you as well? Do you do trade shows at all or not?
I do trade shows, do 2 a year. That topic of conversation has been come up often. It costs Fireball a lot of money to go. But if you want to, we go to not make money. We see it as, if we want to be associated with the other companies at the level, we have to be there. And so it also gives the opportunity for me to talk to people. And I think people see me as a YouTuber, and it's another way for me to actually say, no, I'm not a real YouTuber, I'm a real person, I'm a real inventor. Come up and say hi to me, shake my hand, and I want to answer any questions you have. So there's the more you do that, the more people get to interact with you. I think that's important. But the trade shows, they're tough. I see some of the booths that are just empty. And I'm like, how are you guys? Is it worth for you guys to be here? I mean, we're like the Fireball booth. We always try to have some engaging stuff in the booth, so it's fun for them. But no, we don't go there to make any money in the sense. We go to just represent that we're part of this collective space.
Interesting. What is going back a little bit towards the beginning of when you started? Are you more of like the engineering design type? Do you do any like 3D modeling or anything like that? Is that hand?
All 3D modeling.
When did you get into that?
2014. I needed to I had interest in 3D CAD modeling for the gentleman I was working for, and I convinced him to send me to school. So I took a 1-week class in Seattle on how to use SolidWorks.
Sure.
And that kind of got me started. And from there, I would say that was probably one of my biggest assets I've ever had is my 3D modeling. Because if you can 3D model it, it is the basic language now for somebody to manufacture your parts, communicate with anybody, 3D print it, prototype it. It all starts with CAD. So I got my son getting CAD modeling. I think everybody should CAD model. I think all fabricators should learn how to do it or learn how to run some sort of CAD, because even now you look at your plasma cutter uses some sort of interface to where you need to give it some DXF files but all these machines are now they're all computer controlled. So you have to have some knowledge of what's happening. But yeah, CAD is amazing.
Would you say that's probably the key? And I'll give my input, and I would say same thing for myself, is that there is something to be said for when you can think something up in your head.
Yep.
And like, okay, I think this would be cool. And then you start getting into CAD and you start designing this thing out and you start finding 90% of the flaws that you would have found before you even get to the FAD table.
Yep. And then before CAD, I'd build it all in my head and sleepless nights. How am I going to put this all together? But yeah, CAD allows me just to get all that dumped out and my head can free up and work through those problems. And then it doesn't solve all the problems, but it gives you some pretty good foresight of what's going to happen. So, and then integrating the CAD into the fixture tables has been kind of my next biggest thing with the fixture mapping, because that's always been the gap I'm sure you've discovered is we have it in 3D space. We see what we want. How do I communicate with Fabricator to build this?
Yep.
And there's always been this disconnect. Okay, I can give them a drawing with a whole bunch of dimensions on it, but what do they do with it?
Yep.
So the 3D model or the 3D modeling into the fixture mapping is that bridge between here's what I would put all these fixtures on this table where I tell you to, and there's the imaginary image all laid out. Now make that work. And that's huge.
That was a huge bridge for us, man.
Yep.
Being able to see that, because you get two different groups of people. You got the office people, you got the shop people.
Yep.
Like, and there's this disconnect that happens, and the drafter merges them.
Yep.
But when you have a physical part out there that can actually merge the two, that's what I said it a couple of times out, but that's what I was more enthralled with than anything.
Yep.
Was knowing now that we basically have that bridge.
Yep.
Between the two groups now.
Yep.
Which is massive.
You're going to love this. I have, you probably didn't see him at the shop, but I asked for 16 independent fab shops, volunteered. I think I mentioned to you this before, but I'll tell you the story again. And some of them had fireball tables, some of them had other competitors' tables, and some had plate steel like you have outside. And I gave all of them the exact same drawing. Okay. And that they all volunteered for this. They all know this is an experiment. And I said, I gave them all the material. Everybody had the same cut material, put it all in a box, and I sent it to them all over the United States, the same cut parts. And then I asked them to film themselves building it. And what's amazing is you'd think you would have 16 parts come back and they'd be all the same, because you have this drawing. This drawing says it should be this. We should be getting 16 identical parts back. Little do they know, I gave the fireball guys a fixture map. I told them, because they have a fireball table and system, I gave them the fixture map. I also gave everybody else the fixture map too, even though I know that it's useless to them because their fixtures aren't designed to be used. The fireball guys, about 50 minutes to build the parts. Everybody else, 2 hours to 4 hours to build the exact same parts. And the funny part is when we get all the parts back, how do you think they actually came out? They're not very good. And they're all over the board. All the fireball guys are really dang close. Almost, they all drop in the same fixture. All similar parts. I'm like, this is it. We finally have a way that everybody can build the same thing with the same process. And it is incredible. You could say, Jason, can you build me these parts? You could send me the fixture map and I could place fixtures down and I could build it for you.
Well, you did it with us. I mean, we saw it. It's
absolutely incredible. So I'm trying to help. I know it sounds like, Jason, you're just trying to sell a product. I'm not trying to sell a product. I'm trying to sell a solution to this problem we have in this industry. And it's incredible. So stay tuned for that video. It should be coming out here pretty soon. But yeah, you're on the right path to speed when you adopt this system. Yeah. You're gonna cut some real corners by adopting it.
And we even had guys asking today, like, when we get in the table, when we get in the table, and it's like, we got the quote, we're getting the table.
Okay.
I promise you, like, it's coming. You got to get shop space out there. We got everything else cleared out, but it was a huge selling point for us just coming, like I said, coming to your spot, seeing all that, seeing what you're doing, seeing the stir up. You know, you're doing something right when you're stirring the pot a little bit, and people are upset at you. And I mean, that is, I would say, I'm realizing that more and more. It's even like when and I'm not nearly in the spot you are on social media. We're getting there, but it's like, well, percentage of there. But with that being said, it's like, it's still interesting that people just like hearing themselves talk a lot of times.
Sure.
Like, they try coming in and just absolutely shutting you down. And I would think for a lot of new people starting out who are trying to start a new business or doing something, can you talk any about the encouragement about that? It's just like, look, there's so many people, it's negative comments that comes out there.
It comes with the trade. If you're not getting negative comments, you're doing something wrong. I would judge your success by how many negative comments. You want negativity, because negativity does two things. It allows you to take a step back and look at yourself. Say, hey, can I make this product better? And if sometimes they have really good feedback, believe it or not, even though you don't want to hear it, but they do have good feedback. So you need to listen to the negativity. Two, let's see, what about the starting a business? You're gonna get it, and you should look for it and listen to it. And two, that's just part of marketing. And you're gonna, as you're marketing, you're gonna come across many different people's opinions and flavors, and that's just part of it. If that net is big, you're gonna capture some fish that you may not like, and that's when you know you're doing a good job. And that just comes with part of the territory. You're gonna have to have some thick skin. They always say don't read any comments, but I have a hard time not to, because I see those as good criticism.
Yeah.
When they personally attack me or anything like that, those are always tough. It does make me want to crawl under a rock sometime and go, what am I doing this for? I'm really just trying to help these guys out, and get slammed for it. Why you make a vise that's so good? Nobody needs a vise that can do 30,000 pounds. You're an idiot, right? And I'm like, well, tell that to everybody that breaks vices. So, but that's the thing. You're going to be marketing to people who may not, your product may not align with.
Yep.
And so they're kind of on. I'm maybe like a good example. I have some videos right now that are targeted for the hardtail vise, but they're targeted toward like heavy diesel mechanics or somebody who really needs a heavy duty vise. But I'm capturing some of the hobbyists too. So they're mad at me that my vise is so expensive, and their negative comments they weigh heavy on me, so. But yeah, so somebody starting new, it's okay to get negative comments. Look at those as a positive. So you're doing something right, or maybe you're doing something wrong, and change it.
Yeah,
So
being able to listen to the negativity too. I found myself at the beginning too, trying to constantly defend myself.
Yeah.
And it was like, at some point, I mean, my wife and I argue. We're the best friends, and we argue, right? How can I agree with somebody 100% of the time, right? And guess what? I'm not always right. Half the time she's probably right, probably. Half the time I'm probably, you know what I mean? So there's always half the time. So if you're never listening to the negative things that people say about things, then you're not wanting to grow.
Look at it. I take the negative comment, I turn it into a positive. I go, for one, I did something wrong, which means is I didn't explain myself well enough as the salesperson or somebody in front of the camera. Two, this is an opportunity to explain more and use their comment as the next video, or engage with the audience again, because I think that's what they want you to do. Is that commenter secretly wants you to help them in some way or show them more information, and so that's another invitation to make another video and answer their questions. And I often do that when they say, Jason, you should have used a impact wrench instead of a cheater bar. I'm like, okay, that sounds like a great video. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. And that's how you start the video. You guys said I screwed up. I should have used an impact wrench instead of a cheater bar. Let's see what happens. And you always phrase it as more education, and we're willing to learn what happens. So the audience feels engaged with some of the negativity. But you can turn negative into a positive, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Have you started noticing any of your competitors trying to go down this route that you're doing now too?
Yep.
Have they?
Yeah, I'm pushing them. They're pushed to do more social media.
Mm-hmm.
I even noticed some of the competitors they're starting to have a face, which means they're pushing one person
Mm-hmm.
in front of the camera more and more for their sales. But what I find these big corporations, what they don't have is true lack of knowledge of their product, which means they never actually give a good demonstration.
Yeah.
Which means they just say, here's my thingy. It's square and it's hard and has a hole in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's their sales pitch. When really they don't actually put it into practice and say, look at how this really thing saved you some time and how it works. They're missing that because they don't use their tools.
Yeah.
Or I use my tools and I go, so I can give good demonstrations of how the tool's really used. So that's why I see you guys with Justin, and he can help you guys give real demonstrations of how the tools are used.
Yep.
Instead of look at our container. We did it this, and this. And the audience is like, I don't know what that's for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they shrug their shoulders like, I don't know. Yeah.
And I don't think people realize too, especially probably some of these competitors, I don't think people realize how much you actually put into making a video.
Oh.
Yeah. It is. There's those people out there too who are just like, you know what? He's just going on YouTube and he's just making these videos. Mm-hmm. Or they're just doing this podcast. There is so much that happens to put one of those videos out there. So it's not just you going on and just saying, hey, here's how the product works. You're investing time and money to show people that. And I don't think people really realize that as well. I think that's a part of your business on the media side that people I don't think appreciate enough.
That part is also changed. It used to be on social media, you could post it and that one topic would stay relevant for years.
Mm-hmm. They
would just go on YouTube and find it. YouTube isn't that way anymore. You have to continue. It's that topic. It needs to continue to roll. We call it now newspaper advertising, to where you open the newspaper and you read the information in it, the ads or whatever. What do you do with the newspaper back then? You throw it in the trash. That's the way social media is nowadays. If you scrolled past it, it's in the trash. You will never see that ad ever again once you've scrolled past it.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what you're forced to do? Make another one to try to get back into them again. So it's this repeated process. Like, I've said this line 100 times. I've made this video before, but I have to make it again next month. And this is like this most frustrating thing in the world, because then the comments were like, some people say, I've seen this before. And other people are like, that's cool. They have more questions.
Yeah.
So that's the struggle. How do you market to people who haven't seen your stuff before, and maybe not so much who has, because it makes them mad. I've noticed too, because I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. So I wish there was a way we could kind of toggle on as creators, people who have seen this content to people who haven't. That would be another really creative feature, to where you can make different content for different people and have it show to them based on if they've seen it or not.
Do you do other videos on other platforms besides YouTube, or is it just YouTube?
So TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. YouTube has changed their algorithm. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you have anything on YouTube, but they changed their algorithm about 6 months ago, to where they're favoring shorts.
Yeah.
And shorts are huge right now. So people are just engaging in 3-minute or less content. Same with TikTok and Instagram Reels. So focusing on that. So realistically, when we do a big project, I will film 2 different ways. So we have a camera that's vertical on the front of our normal.
I saw
so because we've struggled with how do we take and separate our content for social media. And now you have to flip it upside down, and it's like the audience instantly says this doesn't feel right if it's not filmed vertically. They can also tell the camera if it's too professional, it feels like an ad.
Yeah.
So they get disconnected. It doesn't feel spontaneous. It doesn't feel like it's relevant or in the news.
Interesting.
So we film horizontal and vertical on a project. And if I'm in the middle of something and it's interesting, I will stop and I will look at the camera and say, hey guys, have you ever seen this before? This is pretty cool. Let me show you a trick. Note to editor. He knows that that's the beginning of a short.
Interesting.
And so that from whatever he filmed there, that intro is now for a 3-minute video that's about to happen.
Nice.
So I have to film basically 2 videos in one. So be thinking about that.
Yeah.
All your content you need to be being able to do for long form and short form.
Interesting. Yeah, we noticed the YouTube short thing was really obviously. I mean, there's so many views that have even for this podcast. It's like the views on the shorts are way, just way up there, right?
Yep.
Everyone wants that short little content.
It's gonna eat you up because it's consuming. You cannot make enough short form content. They will just eat it up.
Yeah, and it gets out there. It gets people watching quick, like your own advertisement right away. Boom, here's the fun thing to watch right off the bat. Kind of like the front of a YouTube video. All the action right up front.
Yep.
Show them the action first, get them hooked, and get them in.
Be ready for response. So if you get good response from a short, be quick about it. Just like the news, you got to report on the next quick thing. So if you have a good reaction, make sure you're ready with the camera and have another short form that answers those questions and be ready to go the next day because people are engaged with it. So keep rolling.
Interesting.
So you gotta be on standby. You can't slack.
That's the truth. You're realizing that you can't slack at all. I want to steer this two different. I know I don't want to take too much of your time, but I want to talk about two more things that are interesting. One, when you did first start, kind of jumping back a little bit.
Yep.
How long was it just you before you started expanding outside of that? And you said your wife was involved at the beginning, pretty constant, and you didn't do it with a partner, or did you?
Nope, it's just my wife and I.
I love, talk to me about why you do. I'm a huge push on start it by yourself. What pushed you to do that and not say, oh, I need to hold hands with somebody when I do this?
No money.
Yeah.
Literally, when you're starting out, you don't have any money. If you've invested all into your product. I ran Fireball out of my basement for 2 years. Because I was still working simultaneously. So I was juggling two acts. Going to work, running Fireball when I get home, go in the garage, weld, fix, get parts, box it up. And my wife says, okay, this is starting to be profitable. We need somebody to start boxing this stuff up. So she's customer service at that point in time. She's boxing stuff up, making sure it orders. She's hauling up these big heavy squares up our basement stairs, placing them in front of our garage door for FedEx to come pick them up. I mean, the pile started off with a small mound, and then the mounds get bigger, and then FedEx is now showing up every day. So it was at that point in time, like, okay, we're gonna need to hire somebody to help her. We got to get out of the basement. It's getting too small. And then at one point, it's like, I have to now quit my job. What point is that? So I encourage you, if you're starting a business, don't quit your day job until you cannot absolutely do both.
Side hustle.
It is a side hustle until you cannot physically do it. And then that will just help give you a head start and some confidence to where if something were to happen, you got something to rely on. So, but that was 2 years before running Fireball out of the basement, before I felt comfortable enough to quit my day job and then go all in. And then that's when I was really able to put more time into marketing, do full-time videos, reinvest what any little money was coming in profit-wise back into new tools and new projects.
What I love about that too is it was all, and I'm sure that just grew your wife and yours relationship so much when you're doing a business together like that. I mean, there's so many conflicts.
We often look back and go, why did we do that? Oh, our backs hurt so bad. Why the first thing I said, I should have bought a forklift way sooner.
Yeah.
But we look back and we laugh. It builds our bond stronger. I mean, I have stories to where we took off. Probably the biggest turn event for Fireball was going to our first trade show. That was, I don't know, for my first trade show, I have no idea what it was like behind the scenes. The biggest trade show for welders and fabricators is FabTech, and it's in Chicago typically. And Fireball's doing pretty good, and YouTube channel's kind of okay. And I'm like, well, if we want to be somebody, we should go to FabTech. So I loaded up a U-Haul trailer of all my inventory, and I didn't even know if you could actually sell product there. I thought it was like,
Just showing it.
Yeah, just showing it. So I'm like, you know what? The booth cost me $10,000 if I remember right. And it was just a little 8 foot wide by like 4 foot wide, deep, way in the back. I'm like, I got to bring enough product to make this trip worth it, so I don't go the other direction.
Yeah.
We just hooked up to our Nissan Armada with a U-Haul and just hauled all our product over there. Unfolded our little table. I should probably show you a picture of it. It's pretty funny. They're holding a little banner with some zip ties up there, and I'm used to giving demos, so I placed a little amplifier underneath the desk, and I had a little microphone, and I'd talk into it like a little gypsy salesman. I would just pedal the squares, and people would just walk by and buy them. And
How successful was that first one?
I sold every square I had. Got recognized by some people and got partnered up with some warehouses that were able to help me get my product to other people. And so it was a good communal meeting place of others in my area. So like, yeah, so it was a great meeting place for others. If I didn't go there, I wouldn't have met some great people. So take risks. I think that's what you got. Don't be afraid to fail. Take some risks. Try to cover yourself as much as possible, but don't be afraid to take risks. And I tell this to my son, always say yes. Never say no. A good example of that is like, come on this podcast, you always say yes. You don't know what this podcast can do for you or me. We don't know the future, so never say no.
Yeah.
Always say yes. Even if you don't want to.
Just do it.
You just do it.
You don't let the fear deter you.
Yep.
Especially if it's a fear factor.
Yep.
And that's what we talk about on this show too. In the very first episode, it's like, where does confidence come from? Confidence comes from understanding and knowing your product. That's confidence.
Okay.
You know, the fear is, do you want to do it? Like, do you not want to do it because you're scared? And if that's the answer, you 100% do it, and you lean into it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, lean into it is the biggest thing. I mean, hearing that story just gives me chills just thinking, because it's so. That's the type of stuff, man, that I just absolutely love hearing about.
Yeah.
It's you had a vision, you decided, you know what, I'm going to do this. So you put it all in. You're like, why not?
Yep.
I mean, what? And then for those watching, it's like, what are you doing right now? It's like, if you're at your job every day, like, I want to do this thing. I'm doing this grind. I hear that conversation constantly from people. I just want to do it. Do it.
You have nothing stopping you in this day. If you have an invention out there, I'm going to look at the camera. You have the opportunity to 3D print it, CAD it out, because you can learn CAD skills on YouTube, which you've never had before. You have your own way of marketing with social media. You can market yourself. There's manufacturers that are more than willing to help you make your product. You don't have to feel like you have to do it all yourself. There's people willing to help you make stuff. There's no excuses. So just have to have the drive and will. I know a lot of people say, I don't want to sell my pickup truck. I don't want to sell my motorcycle. I don't want to work extra hours or 2 jobs. Well, then you just don't want it and hard enough.
Yeah.
But there's nothing stopping you anymore. So you don't have to buy magazine ads for $5,000 to get your product out there anymore.
That's a huge one.
You can pick up your phone that you've already paid for, get on social media, and start making fun, entertaining content. Yeah.
That's a great piece of advice, man, because a lot of times when you first start out, then you start getting the people saying, hey, we can get you this. Hey, we can get you that. And you feel like you have to do those things, but you don't have to do them, man. Just keep driving and grinding. Don't let fear deter you. That's huge.
It is.
Two more, actually, one more thing now I want to mention is, so you were building everything here. What is your market? What does it look like now? How are you manufacturing currently? Are you doing everything in the U.S.? Are you doing stuff overseas as well? What are you doing? Both? How does that look? And when did you do that jump?
Both. Typically, I'm probably one of the most patriotic people you'll meet. I love USA made stuff. My grandfather's a millwright also. If it didn't have Snap-on written on it, it wasn't a tool in his eyes. Yeah. And I was raised that way also. So I knew right from the start that I had to have USA-made tools. What I quickly learned is that, for one, people don't want to pay for USA-made tools. And then what happens? So I know I have a good tool, but then I need to get this design or product in people's hands that necessarily can't afford it. So in some ways, I'm forced to find a cheaper option without reducing the quality. So currently, right now, sometimes we have USA-made tools, which are made in Los Angeles at my warehouse and machine shop down there. And then we have sometimes another line of tools that are made in Taiwan or China, only to bring the cost lower for entry. And it has nothing to do with Fireball not wanting to be patriotic in any way possible. It's just, I want the fabricator or hobbyist to be able to own that design.
Yeah. And it's what your competitors are probably doing.
And here's the thing, if I don't do it and get that price point lower, somebody else will. They will come in behind me and just undercut me, and with a knockoff, and then they'll buy that one instead. So I'm almost forced to have both.
Yeah.
So that somebody doesn't just wipe my product out I've worked so hard for.
Yeah.
Just because it's cheaper. And there's some people who aren't patriotic and they don't care where it's made or how it looks, and that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I've had to put my pride aside a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to have to find somebody else to make this a little cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably one of my hardest things in this whole career. I was like, I will never have any one of my tools ever made over here anywhere. I'm like, nope, that won't ever happen. But I had to like take a big swallow and go, this business will not be successful if I'm only limiting myself to the top 25% of the people who can afford this.
Yeah. Well, and two, I don't know that it's even like you swallowing your pride. I think it's because you're making a product still here in the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not, if you want to buy U.S. and support U.S., then buy it.
Yep.
I mean, people could not order the less expensive table if they, I mean, it is what it is. You're just creating more of a branding and more of a opportunity for people who want that.
Yeah.
And so if they do, great. But if not, it's build it and make it in the U.S.
And the other part is if other table company or if any other companies are only making stuff overseas, if I make a USA made version, I cannot compete with them.
Yeah.
And I will. So you have to have something that competes on that price point. We've got ourselves into a pickle with U.S. manufacturing. We could probably have a whole nother podcast on just that alone of where my heart lies versus just that whole manufacturer. For one, it's hard to find people to manufacture here in the States. Foundries, skilled employees to do this stuff. So it's just like we've done this to ourselves in many ways. I saw this when I was a millwright too, that the younger class or my generation didn't want to work with their hands. So we have this huge gap, right? And it's hard to get people to come up into the trades.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to work with their hands and computers. So we're kind of seeing that suffer right now. I don't know, how has that been with trying to get fabricators and welders here? Is it a little bit of a struggle?
You know, I always hear, like, the biggest thing that I've always heard is that, and this is where I'm kind of steering this a little bit, but I always hear like, oh, the younger generation, it's just, getting younger generation and stuff is just, you just can't find quality work anymore.
Yeah.
And I started thinking to myself, like, who's saying that, right? Like, why? I don't think that that's true.
Yeah.
And so you go out in our shop, I will put our guys up against, and this is all the guys at our shop, I'll put our guys up against any other company in this area.
Yeah.
Because we have some of the hardest working young kids who are here.
And
that they just go, and there's not one person that we have working here right now that I'm like, you know what, that person's kind of on the fence. If you spend the time as a business owner, I think this isn't talked about enough, is that as a business owner, you have the lazy hires and you have the people who actually, people talk about, like, oh, we care about a family here and we care about the group. Well, if that's the case, you should also take pride in who you bring into that family.
Yeah.
And what are you doing to make sure that you're protecting that as well, that you're not just letting any Joe Schmo come off the street that, is going to bring that work quality down and hold people to a less standard.
Sure.
So I'll say finding people and getting people here and getting to work here, it's tough from the business owner standpoint and management standpoint, because you actually have to put your work in at that time. And so that's been...
Are they skilled or are you having to train them?
Both.
Okay. So you're attracting skilled fabricators and also just somebody willing to learn.
What I do is, what I typically take in is like, do you want to fabricate?
Right.
And if they're like, yeah, I want to be a fabricator. I said, do you have experience? Like, no. Okay, when you come here, you're going to do the grunt stuff first.
Yep.
You're grinding caulking out of containers. You're going to be pulling floors. Like, you're doing the stuff that doesn't work. But if they've survived that first 90 days of work, I talk about this on our podcast a lot, that's someone that I'll invest in.
Nice. Okay.
And so and the guys that are here, if you are here, we won't, well, I mean, there's always something that can come up, right?
Yeah.
But we won't bring someone in over top of you to start working, right? So everyone who's here knows that they're going up and they're climbing the ladder themselves. So we'll bring somebody in who's a hard worker, but they've put their due diligence in, and they'll start fabricating on their own time, typically after, just to kind of get practice.
Okay.
And then we'll put them into small parts. And we're able to do that because we have smaller parts that we can do.
Sure.
And they'll start doing that and fabricating, and they kind of work their way up the ranks. And we have a pretty good retain rate from going that way, just because of letting people come in and put the work in up front.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
That's awesome that you're willing to train.
Yeah.
I think that's...
And we'll certify them too.
Yeah.
Certify them. If they're, I mean, shoot, you got someone who's willing to come in and do that.
Yeah.
I'll invest everything.
Yep.
I'll end with this one. Where is Fireball going? What's next for you guys?
I want to start moving into some more equipment some grinders, some more complex shapes other than single piece castings.
Mhm.
I think that's the next Fireball challenge is multi-part components. Like you saw my go-kart grinder.
Yeah.
I want to move into some equipment like that that has some style and some performance all kind of wrapped into one. My grandfather was a big advocate of everything's got to be cool. Everything's a hot rod to his eyes. So I want to start bringing some of that back in. I love old tools. So there's a lot of old tools that have gone off the face of the earth that I like to maybe resurrect
Mhm.
and bring it to modern times. But I like old styling. Oops, all right. So some tools and equipment I can see us going into that direction.
Nice.
And that just kind of stems from practice. Okay, do we have good manufacturing? Do we have good set of guys that can produce it? Do we know what we're doing? Do we have the market for it now? And do we have the audience? Do we have the trust in the customers and our
Mhm.
customer base to produce something that's expensive?
Yeah.
You know, so. And the trust of like, hey, if it's a Fireball product, it's gonna probably be pretty awesome. Like it is not gonna let me down. So
That's great, man.
it'd be like when you guys saw me use the go-kart grinder and I heard some guy go, we need that at our workshop, right? It's that same mentality. We want that tool. Please hurry up. Get us that stuff.
Doesn't that just make you feel like when you create something like that and you start feeling that need, like that first time you create that first tool
Yep.
and you know that you're like, this was so, you say simple. It wasn't simple, but it was like, so all I had to do is have this idea and go do it and just go to this thing and people start wanting it.
Yeah.
But it takes right off the beginning, man. It's just getting that first little
Yep.
inkling of just like, what do I need to do? You just do it.
You just do it.
That's it. That's a Nike ad right there for you.
I love it.
Cool. Cool, man. Well, it was great having you on, man. I really appreciate you coming out.
Man, I love it. Yeah. Do this more often.
Yeah, and a Spokane-based company too.
Yeah.
I can't give enough shout outs to that, man. It's really cool to see that you're doing that right here in this area. I think that there's so many businesses. I mean, I shouldn't say so many, but just your business alone being right here in this industry is awesome. I know for us starting it, we take pride in the city, in the town that we're in, the group of people we have here. It's a great area. So it's really cool to see someone like yourself just be from this area and start a business, man. So
Pretty
congrats
awesome.
on all your success.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
good having you on.